My word, Stone Cold Steve Austin really did everything humanly possible to get booed after turning heel at WrestleMania 17. But the fans only kept booing him because he wanted to be booed and they didn't want to boo him. If that sounds logical to you at all, that probably means you're one of the many brain parasites that has been in Vince McMahon's head for many, many years, infesting in his ears and nesting. And if you are one of said brain parasites, get out while you still can. I'm John Reitman with the Retro Review WWE Raw from August 27, 2001, taking place in Grand Rapids, Michigan. You think, Detroit-born Rhino was, getting cheered here? Oh, yes, he was. Many ECW chants, but my word, RVD was really fucking over from nearby Battle Creek, Michigan. At least I assume. I don't know too much about Michigan geography, but it's not a huge state, so I imagine it's probably just down the road, down the Old Town Road. Anyway, RVD getting huge chants, even though they tried to clamp him down. Yes, this was a pretty good show, actually, even with some of the, lesser matches. There was some nice storytelling bits and everything, and the matches had a good flow. Sure, there was some interference and some bullshit, and the fact it's the invasion angle, the dumpster fire that it was, and still is to this very day, but we're steamrolling towards Unforgiven 2001. Just off in the middle distance right there is Survivor Series 2001. Whoa, we're almost there. Oh, this fucking invasion angle didn't have a prayer, and now that earworm is in your head. So yes, we get recaps of Austin cheating to beat Jericho on SmackDown, and he's in a sling because Jericho targeted his arm. We get a card rundown from JR and Heyman, and Shane comes out to various boos, because they're not going to, do piped-in crowd noise. This is well before the Thunderdome and when they actually had big ratings and everything. And we can get beyond Thunderdome. Please, let's never go back to the Thunderdome. So he says Rhino will beat The Rock for the WCW title, but he says it's a shame that Rhino got the opportunity before him because Shane was going to lay it to smack it down on Dwayne's Rock Hard Johnson and take the title away after paintbrushing his Rock Hard Johnson. I'm going to keep saying Dwayne's Rock Hard Johnson until I make this as uncomfortable as possible. And that Rock doesn't respect the title history. Rock shows up, en contraire. He didn't say that, but it would have been funny. He, talks about the lineage going all the way back, to 1905 and talks about, Ric Flair does the Flair strut. It would be a few months before Ric Flair would show up on WWE television again. And then Rock says, well, one, he kind of botches saying WCW a couple times, but it is what it is. And he says, hey, Shane, you think you can take the title from me? Let's have a face-off. So Shane does that. He does the whole just bring it, and then he gets out of the ring and, oh no, I'm getting up on the steps, and this is of course a ruse to get Rhino in there to hit the gourd for Rock sells ribs for the match later. Nice bit of storytelling. And Shane was much better heel than he was a face. Austin's in a sling, and RVD and Raven show up. They want to have a hardcore match, a hardcore title match, and Austin calls him selfish. Austin's got to be in a tag team match against Jericho and Angle later. He says, wait a second, why don't we, Raven and RVD say, why don't we take this opportunity and make you proud? You can be in our corner. Austin says, that might just work. And then we have Taker versus Albert, and Heyman calls Albert the Moil of Misery. Why that's funny, I have no idea. And also, this match at least didn't have DDP involved, because nothing is DDP, but that whole, stalker thing was absolute bullshit, and Sarah had just beaten him the week prior. My fucking goodness, that whole goddamn feud. Poor DDP. X-Pac kept trying to interfere. We get a ref bump. He hits a, pump kick outside. Albert does, but he gets back in the ring, just a 2 count, and then soon after, chokeslam 1, 2, 3. X-Pac would not make many more appearances after this, and the Light Heavyweight Championship would be retired. Hooray! So then we get Hurricane being interviewed by Cole. Stand back, there's a hurricane coming through. It's the first time you hear that line. And then they would kind of toy with it a little bit later. He would be in the Hurrigear with the Hurricape and everything, and he would hurry along in this match where it was Matt Hardy defending the European Championship against Hurricane Helms with Lita in the corner. And Lita was in the spotlight, getting a lot of cheers here. And then RVD would hit her with Devon Storm. How she managed to hurl Devon Storm at somebody, another human being, is a miracle. Actually, it was more like a tire iron, but it looked also like a crowbar, so why the hell not? And maybe she borrowed the tire iron from when Stone Cold Steve Austin beat up the Alliance right before Invasion. So anyway, this distracts Matt just enough. Eye of the Hurricane, 1, 2, 3, new European champion. Oh my god! Matt had held the championship for quite a bit, so I guess a short title switch wasn't the worst thing in the world. So then, Angle just absolutely mauls Raven, just beats him up backstage and everything, and says, oh, you want to have a tag match? You want to have a tag match later? Locks on the ankle lock. Is this what he meant by bestiality sex? Haha, because he beat up a Raven. That storyline was uncomfortable. Really, really uncomfortable. So anyway, The doctor was checking on Lita, icing her foot, and Matt's like all upset because his girlfriend got hurt. Raven's then selling his ankle, and then Stacyak comes in when Austin, had just appeared, and Austin's like wondering what's going on with Raven. Stacyak says, I want to team with RVD. I want to make you proud and everything. He says, you're being selfish. Can't you see him checking on Raven? And then he knocks Raven and knocks his ankle and stuff like that and beats him up because he's upset at Raven because everybody hated Raven in WWE. To be fair, Raven never fit in WWE style. He fit better as Johnny Polo. Yes, that was actually him, by the way. For longtime fans, if you don't remember if you sort of remember the manager of the Quebecers, yes, that was the future Raven. So anyway, Edge and Hugh Morris do some bad comedy because Hugh Morris was never humorous except, when he was General Erection. Dick jokes. I hated the last year of WCW. Christian shows up in a shag shirt. And I'm not talking a zoink shirt. I'm talking a shaggy shirt that it's like he ripped it out of the 70s. And says, well, you're making fun of, Edge's name? Well, how about, he beats you and defends the Intercontinental Championship tonight? Okay. So anyway, we then get recaps of Test joining the Alliance, and Test with Shane took on Bradshaw with Farouk. Big man battle. Shane kept interfering. Farouk did get clotheslined by Test. And then the big boot after Bradshaw tried to get at Shane. He got kicked 1, 2, 3. There you go. So, not a bad match. It was what it was. Test got a pretty decent push in, later 2001, and then I was like, even up to, King of the Ring 2002, he was sort of featured a little bit better, because he had a pretty good match against Brock in the King of the Ring tournament, but by the time it got to 2003, they kind of gave up, because Stacy wanted Test to have, to stimulate his testicles. His fans, by the way. We don't make too many dick jokes on this show or in wrestling. Anyway, RVD says he'll take care of Austin in the tag match, and then Austin yells at Deborah while raising his hand. Oh, wait, that's months off, and yeah, I'm not going to forget that because Stone Cold Steve Austin, as great of a wrestler as he was, as big of a box office attraction, still beat a couple of his wives. Stacyak then says to Stacy, I have an idea, so it's more like Stacyak, worked hard on these jokes, laugh please. And he says, I got an idea to humiliate Kurt Angle. Rhino versus Rock for the WCW title, ECW, and Rhino chants. And Rhino focuses on his ribs forever, 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 for seemingly forever. And then eventually Shane distracts. APA runs down and chases him. And then Rock dodges the gore and then hits the rock bottom 1, 2, 3. Dwayne's Rock Hard Johnson triumphs over being gored. Ouch. And then Stacyak has a bucket of rancid milk, and no, I'm not talking about the band Rancid, but rancid milk above the door. And they were going to hide, behind this little thing that everybody could have actually seen because of shadows, because that's how lighting works and everything. And Angle was going to come in, he was going to get dumped on, going to get the milk dumped on him, and he was going to get all blinded and everything, blinded by the milk. Doesn't quite work as well as the song. And then Stacyak was going to beat him up, proving that he could team up with RVD. They made Stacyak a fucking idiot during this point. So Deborah walks in and gets the milk on her and everything, and then JR laughs as Stacy and Stacyak leave. And then Austin's yelling, what the hell is that smell? No, I'm sorry, that movie was 5 years before. And if he's going to, mess with my most prized possession, and he picks up the title, and he says, I'm going to take care of this. It was funny, because he certainly didn't, appreciate Deborah, especially based on what happened about a year later, or just under a year later. Hugh Morris versus Edge, in a match that certainly existed. Christian, wearing the loud shag carpeting, was on commentary and eventually did interfere right in front of the referee, and there was a DQ. Edge was upset, and this was just build towards Unforgiven 2001. Booker interview, and people were calling the midget Booker, Booker Wee. That is funny because it's also a word for piss. And then Big Show was in a Booker wig, not mocking him, and Coach tried not to crack up. And Steph and Jericho go with a verbal back and forth. Y2J is out, and RVD is in. Oh, fitting that you and RVD have 3 letters in common. RVD and HOE. And she said that's not even how you spell it. Fully embracing that she really is that. So then we get a show of Rooney. Big Show's trying to do, the Rooney or whatever. He doesn't do that. Not a Mickey Rooney, thankfully. Big Show gets attacked by Booker. And the match was fine. It was also about, the same that you would get, about a year later or just under a year later when they tried the ill-fated NWO thing. And my God, the WWE NWO, holy shit. And basically what happened is after Booker kept trying to cheat, he eventually hit Big Show with a chair after Big Show ran into the steps and hit him over the head repeatedly. I mean, well, hit him in the leg and hit him in the head a couple times, ran him into the steps, and then he leaves. Tough Enough finalists are in WWF New York, along with Al Snow, Mr. Personality that he was, and Maven's glorious eyebrows, and Nydia, who deserved a whole lot better than she got. Jericho and Angle versus RVD and Austin. Oh no, it's Taz. Taz is there because they needed to fill the quota of Wizard of Oz characters, and tag work was good. Loud RVD chants. Very nice pace of this. I really enjoyed this match. It wasn't like the greatest thing ever for a TV match. It was quite good. Hot tag to Angle. He just goes absolutely nuts for a little bit, then gets knocked down. 5-star frog splash from RVD, who was the illegal man. Taz tries to cover, but, it was a kick out. Austin then attacks Jericho outside, runs him into the post. Ankle lock, and then Austin tries to distract, but Taz can't, avoid the ankle slam. 1, 2, 3. Austin then hits him with the belt again, takes the gold medals, hits him with the belt again, and then leaves. So it's going to be the Battle of the Gold Medals right after Benoit and Angle had done the Battle of the Gold Medals earlier that year. But what's old is new again. Nobody remembers that stuff except nerds like me. So anyway, yeah, the show was actually pretty good overall. Even though Austin, man, they just didn't want to boo Austin, but they were booing the fact he wanted to be booed. Again, it makes absolutely no sense to any wrestling fans with a brain stem. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.